Alright, everybody. Honestly, I don't really have much of a good intro. Guess the only thing I can say is that, well, we can continue with our Season 7 run of Friendship is Magic, and hopefully this next episode will at least be better than the last episode I reviewed, because I remember that I was not too fond of this episode when it first came out, but as the saying goes, opinions change. So with that, let's jump into A Flurry of Emotions. So this episode starts out in Twilight's castle as a nurse pony basically come by to talk to Twilight because apparently some fillies have the equivalent of MLP's version of the chicken pox.
Came down with a horsey hide. On school picture day too.
It's kind of a funny photo, but it kind of makes you wonder, how exactly does it work? I mean, like I said, the horsey hides, like I said, are pretty much the equivalent of MLP's version of the chicken pox. And honestly, I don't really know how that works, considering I never got the chicken pox, so I don't know how that feels. It kind of makes you wonder where the origin of thinking is from. So Twilight basically says she and Spike will be there to get them food, snacks, and all that stuff until Cadence and Shining Armor basically show up with Flurry.
I was hoping my favorite aunt could watch me for a few hours. Hope you're not too busy. Actually, we kind of are. Busy? Would the best aunt ever be too busy to spend time with this adorable little one? No.
Oh God, I just love how Twilight just says as those types of things. Well, anyways, after the intro, well, Twilight basically decides to play with her favorite niece. Well, Cadence and Shining Armor basically show them. Actually, no, that's a complete lie. We do see Flurry acting a bit like a dog, which is kind of weird since they don't have any dogs. But Twilight basically reveals that she got lots and lots of gifts for the baby.
I'm excited to show you I've done some shopping for Flurry Heart. Oh, you're so sweet. You didn't have to do all that. I know, but I can't help myself. Best and ever!
Also, it kind of makes you wonder how much all the toys were out. I didn't count how many of the boxes there were, and so she had them stored up in that back closet for a while. And like I said, it kind of makes you wonder how many bits she used to pay those. It kind of makes you wonder if she's a princess, does she really need a bank account, and do they just give her money? Gives you a lot of questions to think about.
Open this one, Flurry. Exactly, they're bears.
This is not over! Bears! Come on, you knew I had to make that joke. So while we get some clever magic animation difference between Twilight and Flurry just moving the bear along in different direction, we do see Shining Armor and Cadence basically give instructions of taking care of Flurry Heart, while Twilight is completely and totally distracted.
And diapers. Extra diapers. Oh, and backup extra diapers.
Mashed peas, her favorite. Did I say that already? Oops.
Oh, and this is the most important thing of all. Her whammy. I think it's Flurry named it? Yup. If she gets fussy, just give her the whammy and she'll calm right down.
Kind of makes you wonder if she named that the whammy, does she just usually like punches it or something to calm down? Also, when I think of whammy, I usually think of the game show Test Your Luck, Press Your Luck. You remember that game show, which was then revived, I think when I was in kindergarten, just called Whammy. Again, makes you think about a lot of things, doesn't it?
Getting all this, Twilight?
Whammy, got it.
Alright, so you may notice right off the bat that this episode's plot is very similar to Baby Cakes all the way back in Season 2, and And if you're familiar with that episode, you can probably pinpoint the dots and see where things are going. There are a couple of few differences. For one thing, Twilight does have Spike to basically take care of things. Well, not really take care of things, but to try to keep Twilight on track. So at least she has some help, unlike Pinky, who persists that she can do everything by herself.
Where are you guys headed anyway?
You remember my friend from the Royal Guard, Spearhead?
Honestly, all of your friends' names are very similar.
Well,
The levels of
he was
shade.
at the art show at the Ponyville Cafe, and we decided to go at the last minute.
But we're not exactly art enthusiasts, but we could really use a night out.
You mean day?
I was just-
That's what I said. Isn't that what you said?
I really don't want to make the obvious joke, considering I am still single, so I can't relate to the issues. I was almost going to say it anyway, but yeah. So essentially, Twilight basically says she has everything under control and take care of Flurry, and they play a quick game of basically chase, even though Spike tries to be the reasonable one in this episode.
Alright. I'm gonna get ya.
The basic look it says, I know exactly where this whole thing is going to go. So the chase basically gets to the point where Twilight accidentally surprises Flurry, and she ends up getting so scared that she uses her magic to form a protective bubble. When the baby is already able to use alicorn magic to form a protective bubble, it kind of makes you wonder how all the training for her in the Crystal Empire has been going.
Sorry, Bug. Did that scare you? It's okay. It's just empty Twilight. You know,
Okay, I obviously should get the whole thing out of the way. Obviously, much like everything that happened in the Crystalling two-parter, Flurry Heart, like many things from my first time viewing, has grown on me. So I'm going to be the first one to admit that, even if basically babies most of the time in kids shows tend to be more of a plot convenience 9 times out of 10. However, this episode seems to be more of a slice of life type of episode.
that was a very advanced spell for someone your age. Looks like you're already taking after your empty Twilight.
Oh, and we also get this moment.
Alright. Well, that's pretty adorable.
Spike agrees with me, and believe me, Flurry was like me, because I didn't know how to do like the whole twitching of the eye thing, because I tend to do that at work when I try to show signs of frustration, even though that I have to force my eyelids to close.
But now, I know, Spike, really.
So they can't really go, because then basically Flurry Heart basically turns peas into a weapon, as we see Shining Armor and Cadence at the art museum, where they come across Shining Armor's friend Spearhead.
Yes! Are the new friends? Give me some hugs. Oh, it is so good to see you dudes. Hey, thanks for coming. Of course, we're having a great time. Loving all the art. That's a trash can. So it is. I knew that. But hey, who's to say it's not art? Art can be anything that speaks to you. It changed my world.
Depends on the form of media. I'll just leave it at that.
This is my latest piece. 1,000 Nights in a Hallway.
I would say that would be impressive if it was like one of those neon light type of things, not... It could be one of those paintings where it can basically light up and show the work in ultraviolet, or I'm probably thinking that he probably just painted the whole thing black. Like he probably drew the figures black, drew the hallway black, and the whole thing just turned out to be just a black canvas.
Wow. I guess nighttime in a hallway can be pretty dark.
There is none more dark. Yeah, totally.
Hello, darkness, my old friend.
We're just so happy to be here. Usually we're covered in mashed peas by now.
And like I said before, pretty much as I said, instead of trying to feeding the mashed peas to Flurry, she basically uses them as a weapon.
When they said mashed peas were her favorite. They mean her favorite thing to decorate a room with? Aw, come on, Spike. That wasn't too bad. Yeah, and we're only 20 minutes behind schedule. 20 minutes? It's fine. We can totally do this.
Like I said, if you've seen Baby Cakes, you know the anvil of irony will be turning its ugly head soon. So they do have to take Flurry Heart on their errands, as Twilight tries to make up time by basically doing race cars, to make it look like the shopping cart is a race car, which kind of makes you wonder if race cars are actually in this world. Again, it's giving you so many questions to think about. As when Twilight tries to purchase the toys, she tries to pay them and basically not watch the baby, as basically she uses her own magic to move the cart. And gets the fascinating part, how no pony here is questioning why there is a single baby alicorn driving a cart. Everybody's just looking and walking by and just being like, not my kid.
I'm not a detective, but I think we got a suspect. Huh? Well, we better get to cleaning. We've got no time to wait. Thanks, but they were organized by color.
The joys of organization. So Spike, Twilight, and Flurry stop by Cheerilee's house to basically get their books next.
You have a heat.
Well, as basically Twilight explains why she can't just pick a book from her library.
Interested in the unabridged history of amulets in Pony Latin. Yeah, it was good you came to me. How about the complete collection of ponytails, fables, and stables?
I'm assuming based on that title that's probably a history book.
Too long. Alien alicorns versus space pirates? Well, the science there is preposterous. How about versus warrior from within? It's about a handsome dragon warrior who slays evildoers with his breath and snaps combat.
Of course he would pick a book about a dragon.
Let's borrow that for you and keep looking. What else?
So, like before, while Twilight is distracted, Flurry basically does something that ruins somebody else's lives and basically has to start over while we get back to the B-plot of Spearhead basically showing more quote-unquote art to Cadence's shining armor, but the two basically reminisce on basically Flurry having an accident.
Chocolate pudding, and we found little chocolate hoof prints all over the carpet.
That took forever to clean up. But remember how cute her little face looked when we caught her?
Yeah, she was like, uh-oh. Whoa, Artie's so evocative. I wasn't even going for that memory. Score!
I like this guy.
Honestly, Twilight, I don't even want to tell you how late we are. Should I just cancel our visit to the hospital? What? Cancel? We can't cancel, Spike. The schools are counting on us. And the BAE would never throw in the towel like that. BAE? Best and ever? This errand is going to be different. How do you figure that?
Well, it kind of makes you wonder pretty much by this point. You would think that Twilight would try to ask anyone else in the main six for basic kind of help since she could. Though, honestly, to be fair, in her defense, Cadence's shining armor just kind of threw this baby thing on her at the last minute, so kind of, you know, it basically kind of makes, yeah. So, yeah, you're probably wondering why Twilight doesn't try to ask the other members of the main six if they're busy and need some help with this, even though they're on the schedule, but the episode never really explains that. Because the only other member of the main six that appears in this episode is Pinkie Pie, as basically Twilight goes to Sugar Cube Corner for Flurry Heart to play with Pound and Pumpkin Cake, as Spike watches her, as Twilight basically asks for cupcakes and a bunch of apology treats to everyone in Ponyville.
Remind me to tell you later how amazing you are. Cheerily? I am pretty awesome. Cheerio new cookies with yellow sprinkles. Great. Can you write sorry on them? I've got a stamp for that.
Well, if it's a stamp, then how exact... Oh. Okay, well, it kind of makes you wonder, how exactly would you be able to get the stamp onto the dough if it's just squished up, and it would be hard to tell to get that kind of quality? Alright, so while Pound and Pumpkin Cake do try to fight, Flurry does see the Spike fight while Spike tries to get another toy, and she tries to help, but then Pound and Pumpkin Cake turn on each other. And at this point, you kind of know where this is going to lead, as, well, Pound and Pumpkin Cake are the ones responsible.
Oh no, you're making the same face Cheerily made. Pinkie, remind me what your favorite treat is? The sampler platter.
Of course, the sampler platter could mean a lot of things. I'm surprised at all the treats that she mentioned. I'm surprised it wasn't going to be something big and extravagant.
We'll take 3 of those. Aha! Don't find another one.
And for the record, I should point out that Pound and Pumpkin Cake were the ones at fault here, as Flurry was trying to break up the situation. Kinda makes you wonder how the Cakes are raising their children if they keep pawing them off on Pinkie Pie and they just continue to do whatever they want. So Twilight Teal keeps persisting that they don't want to go there, but they arrive at the hospital anyways, as he basically tells a story that, in retrospective, gives some kind of future insights of a future villain, giving me something to think about.
Marched up the hill, but suddenly they encountered... What? What was it? It was the treacherous Grogar, and just you could tell he was ready for battle.
Yeah. Just something to keep in the back of your mind. That name of the villain, Grogar. If you see Season 9, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. But anyways, back to the episode. Flurry demands attention and then eventually throws a hissy fit, but then loses her whammy and ends up searching all over the hospital, not realizing that she's causing multiple disturbances and using her magic to frantically search, and it's pretty much out of control. And we pretty much get this funny reaction out of Twilight.
Guys, you're floating. You're flying!
God, the reads that Tara Strong gets for those lines just give me a chuckle out of them.
So are you!
So, as Flurry continues to frantically search, Twilight tries to use her magic to get them under control, but pretty much gets instantly overwhelmed as Flurry is just frantically searching.
Silver waxy, want to sing the snail? Where is it? Then it's gonna close her down. We don't see it.
But it basically gets to a boiling point where Twilight ends up finally snapping, but at the cost of scaring Flurry.
Very hard. Put us all down this instant. Is everybody okay?
No, for sick kids, they sure seem to feel alright despite having this traumatic experience.
Flurry, that was very, very bad. You just hurt someone. Flurry, you didn't mean to. Sweetie, you don't have to be scared. It's just me. See? You're scared of me because I yelled at you like a big scary bear. Flurry, I'm so sorry. I've been a terrible aunt today. All you wanted to do was play. and I've barely been able to pay attention to you. None of this is your fault. It's mine. So much for being the best aunt ever. But I hope you know how much I love you.
Okay, I'm trying to be delicate because it seems like I breezed through this episode without really giving it compliments. But honestly, I think it's, as I've said 1,000 times, even if you know exactly where the story is going to go, it's the journey that gets through it. And admittedly, Flurry does get a lot of adorable moments in this episode, and we basically get to see Twilight does recognize her mistakes and tries to own up to the fact that she can't balance out of watching over a child while she has other tasks to do going on, even though she wants to spend time with her niece. Though, like I said, this all kind of feels like that Shining Armor and Cadence just threw this on Twilight at the last minute, and it kind of makes you wonder why exactly they don't ask Sunburst to watch over her. Just saying. But that being said, I think that this episode is better than Baby Cakes because, for one thing, they don't treat the audience as, well, as the intended audience for the age, as it's a bit more mature than Baby Cakes. I'll just leave it like that.
Forgive me?
So basically, after a lot of cleaning up and fixing, Shining Armor and Cadence realize how much they missed their baby, and they go out to see that, well, everything seems fine, while Twilight and Flurry are playing with each other.
Flurry, where's our little foal? Oh, we missed you so much.
But it looks like you had a great time without us.
Actually, not so much. Flurry got into some mischief. But it wasn't her fault. I shouldn't have agreed to watch her with such a jam-packed schedule. It was too much to juggle. But Flurry taught me an important lesson today. It turns out being the best aunt ever isn't about spending the most time with your niece, but spending quality time with her. And she taught me a really cool bear game. So I guess I learned two things.
And then I think as the morals go, I think parents can kind of actually relate to this type of moral, especially when it comes to new parents. So I think this is honestly a great mature or moral to know. Like I said, it is 1,000 times better than Baby Cakes ever did all the way back in season 2, when Pinky was just being persistent that she didn't need help.
Well, we definitely should have given you more of a heads up.
You think?
Yes. From now on, we'll give you plenty of notice.
And by plenty, you mean what? A week? 2 weeks in advance? Or at the very least, if you want to take time off, give her 10 business days in advance?
That would be great.
Hey, what are you doing next Tuesday? For dinner, not to babysit.
I'll have to check with Spike, but...
So, now that I'm thinking about it, if you're kind of makes you wondering, you would think that the Princess of the Crystal Empire, now that she has a child, you think that now would be the time to hire a babysitter.
I think we're free.
Where is Spike anyway?
And the episode ends with Spike reading the whole dragon story, and pretty much the foals are liking this. Even the nurse pony is enjoying the story.
Still quite a dread. Hey, you kind of look like him. Thank you. Okay, now who wants more cake?
Huh. Guess that answers my own stupid question about that. So that was A Flurry of Emotions, and this episode's actually better than I thought it was. Yeah, it's nothing groundbreaking, it's nothing special. Like I said, this episode has a lot of similar beats to Baby Cakes, and if you could pretty much put that together, you can kind of figure out where the episode is going. But I think the episode just kind of makes up for it with Flurry having a lot of emotions, and we do see Twilight trying to balance out her responsibilities while also trying to attend to her needs. The B plot is definitely hilarious. Even though I skimmed over most of it, it is nice to see each Shining Armor and Cadence basically out of their element and basically trying to have a good time, but realize how many memories that they do enjoy with having Flurry around. And it's really also just some great moral for really parents and new parents at that spending time with their kids, it's not about the most important thing for your child. It's about how much you love them at the end of the day. Hey, though deadbeat parents left aside, it's honestly still a good moral that, like I said, I think new parents should definitely come to appreciate. And especially what happens when you're trying to watch over a kid, but you have a lot going on. Honestly, there's really nothing else I can say about this episode, and especially for one thing, it didn't make me angry. So, I think at the end of the day, I think I'd say A Flurry of Emotions, I'd probably say would be about an A-. Probably only because of the predictable plot. You kind of get the idea where it's going, and you kind of see what happens every time Flurry gets into a mischief, but it's mixed up with adorableness. So, honestly, it's just an enjoyable slice-of-life episode that I really liked. So, yeah, A Flurry of Emotions is an A-. Alright, so hopefully I'm assuming that this might be the case, and I'm hoping that this isn't going to be this episode where one episode is good, and then the next episode is going to suck. I'm hoping it's not going to be that pattern, but hopefully we'll see what happens. Alright. Next time, we will take a look at Rock Solid Friendship. See you guys next time. Bye.